Right, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired an all-party meeting on the situation obtaining at India's border with China in Ladakh. You just heard his concluding remarks. These are the images from that very all-party meeting. Now, as you can see, the meeting took place via a video conference. It began at 5 this evening with the Prime Minister leading all those participating in paying tributes to the martyrs. Some cabinet ministers, including Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, briefed those at the meeting about the situation at the line of actual control. Now, leaders of many parties attended this meeting. They included Congress President leader Sonia Gandhi, NCP leader Sharad Pawar and Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, among others. Now, the meeting assumes significance in the wake of the recent violent face-off between Indian and Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley in eastern Ladakh. 20 soldiers of the Indian Army were martyred in the clash. All right, let me bring in my guests at this point in time to help you make sense of it all. We'll have a galaxy of personalities joining us, but let me first go across to Prafulla Ketkar, the editor of Organizer, which is a publication affiliated to the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Mr. Ketkar, thank you for joining us on Newsnet. Appreciate it. First up, your thoughts on that rather combative speech by Prime Minister Modi. He was categorical, combative, firm, resolute. I can go on, but your take on the operative or the objective part from the Prime Minister's remarks there.
See, this briefing is very critical. There was a demand for such all-party meet, and the way Prime Minister briefed and in fact echoed the sentiments of the people.
Right.
As far as the the sentiments related to martyred soldiers and the situation on the border, but at the same time, the way he has shown confidence in our armed forces and their ability to fight for each and every inch of the land, that clearly shows that And the good part is, despite some efforts of politicking by Congress or some dissenting voices by CPM, by and large, there was a consensus and the confidence that was shown by all political parties in the government and the armed forces. And this strong resolve to stand behind all the actions taken by the government. We are a democracy. And because of democratic setup, the political leadership takes the final call when it comes to such sensitive issues related to border management and use of armed forces. So in that context, I feel as a democratic process, this is very critical. Of course, intelligence agencies and armed forces have been taking their own actions and they have autonomy to take a call, but within the framework of the decision taken by the political leadership. So uprising this, the nation and the opposition becomes critical part of this process.
Absolutely. Prafulla Ketkar, I want to pause and bring our viewers up to speed once again with the key points made by Prime Minister Modi in that remark of his just a short while ago. And if I can cite what Prime Minister Modi said, neither has anyone intruded into our territory nor took over any post. Point number one. Point number two, our forces are doing what they have to do to protect the country, whether it is deployment, action or counter-action. That's point number two. And point number three, India's patrolling capacity has increased due to newly built infrastructure, especially along the line of actual control. And he also went on to say that he realizes and appreciates the sentiment of the nation and its people. He says people are agitated, and the same sentiment was expressed to him and conveyed to him in that all-party meeting by various leaders. And he says India has the capacity and the capability to deter any enemy action. So In hindsight, Prafulla Ketkar, India has a range of options before it: political, diplomatic, military, economic. Give our viewers a sense of what India may want to do in the near future to give a befitting response to the Chinese miscalculation, if I can put it that way.
See, as it is clear from what happened in Galwan or surrounding areas, China has a problem with India, developing its infrastructure in this area. Till now, we took a approach that we kept these areas to some extent underdeveloped. But now 61 roads and even the Galwan bridge project is on the verge of completion.
Right.
So it's a totally different kind of approach. And despite all these, issues related to incursion, we are continuing with the, infrastructural development approach. So we must continue with that, and that is the best way to go about it, because we have every sovereign right to develop infrastructure on our side of LAC. That's what we are doing. Secondly, because the LAC is not defined, we have a peace and tranquility agreement with China.
Right.
So generally, we don't hear, kind of news related to firing that we read from the line of control side, LOC side with Pakistan. Both sides abstain, and both sides have at least on paper said that they would like to resolve all these issues through dialogue and discussion, hopefully. But what we have heard from the recent incidents, that the 6 June, despite the 6 June dialogue in Galwan thing, China tried to create a temporary, try to erect some kind of temporary tent kind of thing,
right,
which we objected, and that led to this kind of situation. So we must stand by our forces. Our forces have every right to defend our borders and our land. We should continue with that. People's sentiments are there, and there will be call for economic boycott. And if what we are getting from Chinese side and Chinese media, it is really pinching China very hard. China is completely encircled on Taiwan issue, South China Sea, Hong Kong, on all fronts. So we should continue to mount our pressure diplomatically through international organizations while holding our land, every inch.
Right. You've raised a number of valid points there, Prafulla Ketkar. Let me take you back a couple of days. I want to quote what Prime Minister Modi said 2 days ago. He said, India wants peace. India is for peace. But if provoked, India will not shy away from giving a befitting response. On the same day, we heard the Indian Foreign Minister Subrahmanyam Jaishankar tell his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi that this development will have a serious impact on ties, on bilateral ties. And this morning, we heard another political leader from the government and the party saying that China has lost the trust of 1.3 crore Indians. Now, given the situation and the atmosphere obtaining today as we speak, where is the India-China relationship headed forward in the next few days, weeks, or even months?
It is really unfortunate that, this year we are, actually celebrating 70 years of our ties, the formal diplomatic relationship. And we always adhere to, what we said and what we acted in terms of recognizing China's sovereignty or unity and integrity. Unfortunately, China never respected that, whether it comes to Gilgit-Baltistan or Article 370 or, this entire concept of Belt and Road Initiative, BRI,
right,
or China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. All these actually, completely changed the ground rules of diplomacy. Now India has started giving a befitting reply, and China is somewhere perturbed
Right.
because of the same. Uh, uh, we will see, because China is getting isolated globally. Chinese regime, the CCP dictatorial regime of Chinese Communist Party is being questioned within China. China, thanks to COVID-19 scenario, it's a second wave now in China, and the way it is being handled, many people in China itself, they are questioning. 11 provinces are facing flood there.
Right.
We all know what is the situation of human rights in Hong Kong. Taiwan every day is making noises about Chinese, intrusion in their airspace. Philippines is questioning Chinese posturing in South China Sea. So
Indeed.
on this background, there will be pressures
Right.
mounting from China, and belligerent China perhaps will act more on unexpected lines. So we should
Right.
be ready for everything while expecting peace on the border.
Absolutely. On that note, Prafulla Ketkar, thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Right. Let me quickly bring in my other guests in this discussion. Joining us shortly would be two very eminent guests. Ambassador G. Parthasarathy, former Indian ambassador to Cyprus, Myanmar, Australia and Pakistan, and also Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain. He is a former General Officer commanding of the 15th Corps. Now, the 15th Corps is an infantry field formation of the Indian Army headquartered in Srinagar and responsible for military operations in the Kashmir Valley. General Hasnain, thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. First up, straight away off the bat, a very combative speech there by Prime Minister Modi. In your estimation, is the time for talks over, and that the time is ripe to actually to be seen to be doing something to deter enemy action going forward?
Thank you. Very relevant questions, no doubt. And hearing the Prime Minister, and before that, viewing the various reports coming in of the all-party meeting, it's very inspiring to say that there seems to be complete political consensus, which is what is the need of the hour at this time, in this very, very provocative situation which has developed on the LAC. The Prime Minister was very, very clear. He's primarily directed the nation, informed the nation that all measures to secure the line of actual control are in place, that our infrastructure development will continue at even a greater renewed pace, that we have not lost any territory, no post of ours has been lost, and that India will continue to do everything possible to empower its army, its armed forces, and that the security of the country appears guaranteed. All this is a very, very appropriate messages at the right time. And the messaging which is very clear is that we have the capability, we are ramping it up even further. We have developed our infrastructure to the right level, and it is going to be a continuous process to keep improving that. So I think a very, very appropriate message at this time. He has not ruled out any option. He very clearly said that all options are virtually open, not in so many words, but that's what is conveyed, is virtually open. The diplomatic sphere is always open. What has definitely been compromised is the trust that existed between China and India, which is hugely compromised, no doubt. Absolutely. But military option is not the only option to restore stability or restore order, etc., since the territory has not been lost, as per the Prime Minister very clearly, who has stated that. There's an economic option which is already being played out. And I think in the middle of all this, a very strong psychological message needs to go to China that India cannot be bullied, that India can hold its own. It's an important middle power in the Committee of Nations, and that it cannot be bullied in this manner and will always rise to defend its interests militarily, diplomatically, politically, or economically.
Fair point. I want to take that same question across to Ambassador Parthasarathy. Ambassador Parthasarathy, welcome to DD News and DD India. Your thoughts on the Prime Minister's speech there to the all-party meeting. If I can again recap for the benefit of viewers who might be joining us right now, the Prime Minister said, and I am paraphrasing him here, there's been no intrusion into Indian territory. No post has been captured either. India has the capability to deter the enemy. India's patrolling capacity has increased, especially due to new infrastructure along the line of actual control, and that the Indian soldiers, the martyrs, taught the adversary a lesson. So, in your estimation, Ambassador Parthasarathy, should India must not only act but also seen to be acting going forward?
Look, it depends on how you say acting. I don't necessarily, I agree with General Asnain. I think like him, I've been in the army and I've seen combat. I think we should leave this to be settled after we hold detailed talks with them, which we are doing. The military is talking, others are talking. Now, there's the whole question as to which finger they went to or didn't. Did they intrude across the border into Indian territory, or have they just infiltrated and appeared at one point, which does not amount to an intrusion? It's a technicality. So I would take the Prime Minister at his word, because the Prime Minister of India is a person, whoever is the Prime Minister, is the Prime Minister on an issue of the country's security. I will never doubt the word of. My own feeling is that the Chinese have pushed us to see how far they can go. The limits have been very clearly made to them, and that an intrusion by you would not be accepted. And I think we should leave it at that, because the other point I want to make is, look, conflicts, if you take of this nature, or this is not really a conflict, it's a move of military from the other side into areas they were not occupying earlier. And you have generally a zone in between. So we've dealt with it. We had the unfortunate thing about our officers visiting a place which was indicated to them they could visit the previous day in the talks between the lieutenant generals, and something went wrong there. And that angers me, makes me very angry, and I think we should more seriously look into it. But the right as matters stand, they have not sort of invaded us in any manner or form. They have appeared at a place where they have always been, and we will take it from there. Because you can't be splitting hairs about what the Prime Minister says. He is the Prime Minister, after having been briefed by the chiefs of staff, by the CDS and the senior army officers, has set the position as it exists technically. And you take it as that, because you start, as I said, splitting hairs on matters like that. We have far more serious issues to deal with. Frankly, I am more concerned with the pace with which China has gone ahead. And let me be very frank, I think we still have some way to go. And I don't mind saying it. But we are giving it a try. Only yesterday, we've heard about new acquisitions from Russia. So on a situation like this, give people a chance to function and let them do what they do. Now, as I said, General Asnain and I are very good friends, and we don't disagree, because we're both chancellors of universities in Jammu and Kashmir. And we've known each other. So I think take Atta Hasnain at his word, and you take me, and both of us have seen combat. This is against China. I have seen it against Pakistan in 1965. So we know what this is about. You do have all sorts of complications when a war situation arises. You walk into places where you should not have been and luckily come back. that happens. But here, I think the Prime Minister has said it is not an invasion, and I think we should take him at his word.
All right.
And
We
I
have-
want to tell you one thing. When people retire, some people leave in an unhappy phase of mind. Others are politically inclined. But I think you will find that neither Atas nor I are either. We are very happy with our
Fair
careers
point.
and
Point
very
well
happy
taken,
with-
Ambassador.
So I take what the Prime Minister said. Let us
Sure.
wait. But as I said, I still feel after having seen all this, we have a long way to go to really get our acquisitions and
All
other
right,
equipment.
fair point. Ambassador Parthasarathy and General Hasnain, do stay on. We have lots more to discuss on Newsnight, but time for a very short break here on DD News and DD